Ash has just become Alola champion. He has defeated Professor Kukui, said farewell to his friends and Alola family, and then ends up meeting Solgaleo one last time. But instead of them going their separate ways, Ash asks Solgaleo if he wants to travel alongside him. The Pokemon agrees to join Ash's team, thus becoming Ash's official legendary Pokemon. With Ash now having Solgaleo on his team, his new journey is about to begin. Ash returns to the Kanto region and wastes no time introducing Solgaleo to his Pokemon at Professor Oak's laboratory. The reaction is exactly what we expect. Everyone is completely blown away, a legendary Pokemon standing right there in the lab. Professor Oak, to his credit, takes it in his stride and tells Ash he has done a remarkable job building such a bond with a Pokemon like Solgaleo. We then get a series of small flashbacks, showing glimpses of Ash's time with Solgaleo back when it was a Cosmog, reminding us how far that relationship goes and how much it has grown over the course of Ash's Alola journey. Ash's Pokemon welcomes Solgaleo with open arms, and there's a real sense of family expanding. But the reunion doesn't last too long, because Professor Oak has news for Ash. It's time for him to head over to Cerise Laboratory in Vermilion City to collect his new Rotom phone. Meanwhile, on a rooftop somewhere across the city, we're introduced to Go, a young trainer perched alone, patiently waiting to encounter a specific Pokemon. Over at the Cerise lab, Ash meets Professor Cerise, along with his research assistant and daughter Chloe, and picks up his new Rotom phone. He immediately puts it to use, snapping a selfie with Pikachu and Solgaleo. As he makes his way through Vermilion City, something on a nearby TV screen catches his eye. It's a broadcast of the Pokemon World Coronation series, and the battle playing out is something else entirely. Two trainers face off on the battlefield. The first trainer is Lance, the renowned champion of Kanto and Johto, and a trainer named Leon, who currently holds the title of World Champion. The battle is intense from the first exchange, but Leon's Charizard is in a different class altogether. Ash notices how both Pokemon end up looking a little different to the usual, and this is where we see Gigantamax introduced for the first time. Lance never really got a foothold with his shiny Gyarados, and Leon wins convincingly. Ash stares at the screen, generally stunned, and turns to Pikachu. He tells his partner how he wants to battle Leon one day. A short segment then explains how trainers can register for the World Coronation series and how the ranking system works. Ash then scans the registered code on the spot using his Rotom phone. Before he can think too much about it, Ash notices something alarming. A massive swirling dark cloud forming overhead. He doesn't hesitate and immediately runs towards it. Up on the rooftop, Go spots the same thing. As the cloud thickens and the sky darkens, a legendary Pokemon emerges from it. This Pokemon is Lugia. A group of trainers in the area recognize what's happening and launch into battle. Go, watching carefully, realizes that this is a raid battle, but Lugia is overpowering every trainer thrown at it without breaking a sweat. Then Ash arrives on the scene, steps forward, and does exactly what you expect him to do. He tells Lugia that he'll want to face it in a battle. He then sends out Pikachu and Solgaleo. Pikachu opens with a Thunderbolt, but the damage is minimal against a Pokemon of Lugia's caliber. Solgaleo attempts to use Teleport to get behind Lugia and catch it off guard, but Lugia reacts instantly, firing off an Aeroblast that sends Solgaleo flying back before it soars off into the distance. As the sun begins to set, Ash's instinct kicks in immediately, and he begins to chase Lugia. He climbs onto Solgaleo's back and they set off after the legendary Pokemon. Go, watching all of this unfold from a distance, starts running in the same direction. The two of them converge at the top of a hill, just in time to see Lugia staring back at them both. Both trainers freeze at the legendary Pokemon. Lugia then nods its head at both trainers, turns and flies away. Ash and Go properly introduce themselves to one another for the first time. Go can barely take his eyes off Solgaleo. He has never seen anything like it up close. He then tells Ash about his own goal, to meet every single Pokemon in existence, with Mew as the ultimate destination. It's an ambitious dream, and Ash respects it immediately. Then Ash's Rotom phone buzzes with a notification. He, Pikachu and Solgaleo have been successfully registered for the Pokemon World Coronation series. The journey is officially underway. The next day, Ash secures an invitational match against Leon himself, the reigning world champion and the single most dominant trainer alive. Leon congratulates Ash for becoming the Alola champion, and Ash steps forward onto the battlefield with complete confidence. He sends out Solgaleo, oblivious to the type disadvantage, with Pikachu feeling confused as to why he has not been chosen instead for this matchup, but it doesn't take long for the reality of the situation to set in. Leon's Charizard is in a league of its own. It absorbs everything Solgaleo throws at it, and hits back harder every single time. Despite the raw power at its disposal, Ash loses, and it isn't particularly close. After the battle, Leon takes the time to speak with Ash directly. He acknowledges that Solgaleo is an extraordinary Pokemon, and he makes it clear that extraordinary Pokemon alone don't make extraordinary trainers. A true champion is defined by the depth of their bond with every member of their team, not just their strongest one. and he's sure that Ash can relate to this, especially with how far he has come. He tells Ash to work his way up through the rankings, to build a real team, to earn his place, and then, when he reaches the Masters 8, they can have a battle that they both deserve. He looks forward to battling Ash again someday. From this point on, Ash gets to work. He starts making his way up the World Coronation Series rankings one win at a time. Running alongside this is Go, who continues pursuing his own extraordinary goal of catching every Pokemon species in existence, with Mew as the ultimate prize. But beyond the wins and the rankings, this period marks something genuinely meaningful for Ash. Ash reaches out to Oak and finally brings back his old Pokemon, being Charizard, Sceptile, and Crocodile. These reunions carry real weight. Ash tells his Pokemon that he looks forward to working alongside them to achieve their goals. As his ranking climbs and his team takes shape, Ash begins facing opponents who generally test him. He defeats Marnie, a composed and dangerous trainer with her Gigantamax Grimmsnarl, who never makes things easy. He then goes up against Iris, his old rival from the Unova region, now standing tall as the region's champion. It's a fierce and personal battle, but Ash takes the win after defeating her powerful Dragonite. After that, he overcomes Volkner, one of the most technical gifted trainers in the entire World Coronation series, using Crocodile to his advantage to bag the win. That's 3 significant wins now for Ash. The momentum is real, and Ash's confidence is at its highest. But then comes Bea, and with her, a sharp and necessary reality check. The problem isn't Bea's strength though, she is undeniably formidable. The problem is Ash's attitude going into the battle. Off the back of several convincing wins, he enters the match overconfident and unprepared, leaning on power instead of thinking. Bea is disciplined, precise, and completely unmoved by Ash's approach. One of the strongest trainers in the Galar region with a fighting type Pokemon. She dismantles him methodically, and Ash walks away with a loss that stings far more than the one against Leon, because this time there's no external reason for it. He simply wasn't good enough on the day, and deep down, he knows exactly why. The defeat against Bea doesn't just damage Ash's confidence, it forces a much harder conversation into the open. Because the truth is, Ash hasn't been the trainer he thinks he is. For all the talk of building a team, he has quietly just been relying on 2 Pokemon, Solgaleo and Pikachu. Charizard, Sceptile, Crocodile, they've all been sidelined. They've been present, but not truly included. And the frustration among his team is impossible to ignore, especially after all they have been through with Ash during his journey. But the moment that truly lands is when Solgaleo itself begins to pull away from Ash. This isn't about losing battles. Solgaleo is disappointed on a much deeper level. It didn't choose to travel with Ash so that his power could just be used as a substitute for genuine effort. It came because it believed in a bond that Ash has been neglecting. Go suggests to Ash that they should travel to the Kalos region to take some time away to reflect and have a break from battling. It's at this precise moment that Greninja reappears. Of all the Pokemon Ash has been partnered with, Greninja represents the pinnacle of what his bonds can become. Their synchronization during the Kalos journey was unlike anything seen before, a connection so deep that the two of them shared senses, emotions, and instincts in real time. Greninja's return then is not just a reunion, it's a mirror being held up at Ash, a reminder of the standard he is capable of, and how far he has drifted away from it. The message is clear, even without words. Greninja trusts that Ash will make things right with his Pokemon, and with that vow being said, he too rejoins Ash's team. Ash strips everything back and starts again, this time with his full team. Every Pokemon is involved, every bond is worked on, and Ash is fully present in the way he simply hasn't been for a while. It's not just physical training either, it's the rebuilding of trust. Ash tells his Pokemon that he's glad they gave him a chance to refresh his mind, and with that said, Ash is back now with his Pokemon defending him every step of the way. The rematch against Bea is everything the first battle wasn't. Ash arrives composed, focused, and completely trusting in every call he makes. He reads Bea's strategy, adapts to it, and responds with the kind of intelligent, coordinated battling that reflects a trainer who has genuinely grown. Pikachu stuns Bea with his tactics, and with great perseverance, Ash Greninja delivers the decisive finishing move on Gigantamax Machamp, giving Ash the win. Ash is over the moon. This wasn't a win built on power, it was a win built on everything Ash had learned and everything he had fixed with his Pokemon. With the rematch win secured, and the rankings reflecting his improved form, Ash officially qualifies for the Masters 8. In the lead up to the Masters 8 tournament, Ash has a notable encounter with Steven Stone, the champion of the Hoenn region, and one of the most foremost authorities of Steel-type Pokemon in the world. Steven takes the time to educate Ash on the nuances of the Steel type, how their defensive properties work, where their weaknesses lie, and how top level trainers exploit them in high stake battles. Ash then looks at Solgaleo, knowing how they can both use Steven's tips to the best of their ability. It's time for Ash's first matchup in the Masters A. Alan, the powerful trainer with his Mega Charizard X, who defeated Ash in the Kalos League finals. There is history here, and both trainers know it. Alan Mega evolves his Charizard and brings everything he has with his Pokemon. But Ash counters with Greninja, and this time with the Ash-Greninja bond fully restored and operating at its absolute peak, the result is different. Greninja fights with a precision and ferocity that reflects the depth of their connection, and Ash earns the win. The semi-final brings Ash face to face with Cynthia, the Sinnoh champion, and by most measures one of the greatest trainers to have ever competed. This is the hardest battle Ash has faced in the tournament by a considerable distance. Cynthia's Garchomp is devastating, tearing through Ash's team with a power that makes it clear why she has held her position for so long. But when the moment demands it, Ash calls on Solgaleo. And what makes this moment so significant is the difference in how Solgaleo battles now compared to the very beginning of the story. This is not a legendary Pokemon being deployed for its raw power. This is a partner, bonded, trusted, and fighting for something real. Sunsteel Strike brings Garchomp down, and Ash advances to the final. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. Ash vs Leon. The battle this entire journey has been building towards. Leon arrives, composed, brilliant, and in complete command of every aspect of his team. The gap between them at the start of this story was enormous, but Ash has closed it, and the final reflects that. Every exchange is tight. Every decision Ash makes is made with clarity and total conviction in his team. Ash's family and friends are watching him, knowing that he has come this far in his journey. His Pokemon cheer him in the distance. When it comes down to the decisive moment, Charizard against Solgaleo, the same matchup at their very first encounter, everything that has changed is on full display. Ash and Solgaleo move as one. The Sunsteel Strike lands with full weight on everything they have been through together. Leon is defeated, and Ash Ketchum is now the world champion. After everything that has unfolded, Ash takes a quiet moment to reflect, and it's one of the most important moments in the story. Because when he looks back on his journey, the championship itself almost feels secondary. What stays with him is what he has learned along the way. He came into the World Coronation series thinking that Solgaleo's power was his greatest asset. What he discovered was something far more valuable. Who Solgaleo actually was. A partner with genuine feelings, genuine pride, and a genuine investment in their bond. And that goes all the way back to the beginning, to the small curious Cosmog he encountered in Alola, and the journey they took together from the very first meeting to the moment right here. That history is what made this bond real, and that realization extended to every single Pokemon in his team. Charizard, Greninja, Sceptile, Pikachu, Crocodile, all of them. Ash understands them more deeply now than he has ever before. This is what this journey gave him, not a title, but a perspective. And standing here as world champion, his dream of becoming a Pokemon master feels closer than ever. Not because he has reached the top, but because he finally understands what it truly means to get there. There are still new Pokemon to meet, new bonds to form, and new things to learn. Ash then returns home to show everyone his world champion trophy, and in this moment, a huge bird Pokemon lands in Oak's laboratory. This Pokemon is Ho-Oh, and it then stares at Solgaleo. Ho-Oh then challenges Ash and his Pokemon to a battle.